Krishna Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram
Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Yamuna Tiravanachari Jaya Kunja Vihari Jaya Yamuna Tiravanachari Jaya Kunja Vihari Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Jayo Krishna Balaram Jayo Krishna Balaram Krishna Balaram Jayo Krishna Balaram Jayo Krishna Balaram Jayo Krishna Balaram Krishna Balaram Jayo Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Reading from Bhagavatam, Canto 8, Chapter 9, Text number 28. Evam surasura ganaha samadesha kala एवं सुरासुरगणाः समदेशकाला हेत्वर्थकर्ममतयोऽपि फले विकल्पाः हेत्वर्थकर्ममतयोऽपि फले विकल्पाः तत्रामृतं सुरगुणाः फलम् अंजसापुर तत्रामृतं सुरगणाः फलम् अंजसापुर यत्पादपङ्कजरजश्रयणान्नधीत्याः यत्पादपङ्कजरजश्रयणान्नदैत्याः एवं सुरासुरगणसमदेशकाला तत्त्वकर्ममतयोऽपि फले विकल्पाः तत्रामृतं सुरगणे फलमञ्जसापुर यत्पादपङ्कजरजाश्रयणा न दैत्याः एवं सुरासुरगणाः समदेशकाला अंजसापुर एवं सुरासुरगणदेशकाला मतयोऽपि फले विकल्पाः तत्रामृतं सुरगणा फलमञ्जसापुर यत्पादपङ्कजरजाश्रयणा न दैत्याः. Word to word translation. Evam, thus, Sura, the demigods, Asura Ganaha, and the demons, Sama, equal, Desha, place, Kala, time, Hetu, cause, Artha, objective, Karma, activities, Matayaha, ambition, Api, although one, Phale, in the result, Vikalpaha, not equal, Tatra, thereupon, Amrutam, nectar, Suraganaha, the demigods, Phalam, the result, Anjasa, easily, totally, or directly, Apuhu, achieved, Yat, because of, Pada Pankaja, of the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Rajaha, of the saffron dust, Shwayanat, because of receiving benedictions or taking shelter, Na, not, Daityaha, the demons. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Translation. The place, the time, the cause, the purpose, the activity, and the ambition were all the same for both the demigods and the demons. But the demigods achieved one result and the demons another. Because the demigods are always under the shelter of the dust of the Lord's lotus feet, they could very easily drink the nectar and get its result. The demons, however, not having sought shelter at the lotus feet of the Lord, were unable to achieve the result they desired. Purport. In Bhagavad Gita 4.11, it is said, E yatam mam prapadyante tam stataiva bhajamyaham. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is the Supreme Judge who rewards or punishes different persons according to their surrender unto His lotus feet. Therefore, it can actually be seen that although karmis and bhaktas may work in the same place, at the same time, with the same energy, and with the same ambition, they achieve different results. The karmis transmigrate through different bodies in the cycle of birth and death, sometimes going upward and sometimes downward, thus suffering the results of their actions in the karma chakra, the cycle of birth and death. The devotees, however, because of fully surrendering at the lotus feet of the Lord, are never baffled in their attempts. Although externally they work almost like the karmis, the devotees go back home, back to Godhead, and achieve success in every effort. The demons or atheists have faith in their own endeavors, but although they work very hard day and night, they cannot get any more than their destiny. The devotees, however, can surpass the reactions of karma and achieve wonderful results, even without effort. It is also said, Falena parichiyate. One's success or defeat in any activity is understood by its result. There are many karmis in the dress of devotees, but the Supreme Personality of Godhead can detect their purpose. The karmis want to use the property of the Lord for their selfish sense gratification, but a devotee endeavors to use the Lord's property for God's service. Therefore, a devotee is always distinct from the karmis, although the karmis may dress like devotees. As confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 3.9, Yagnarthat karmanonyatra lokoyam karma bandhanaha. One who works for Lord Vishnu is free from this material world, and after giving up his body, he goes back home, back to Godhead. A karmi, however, although externally working like a devotee, is entangled in his non-devotional activity, and thus he suffered the tribulations of material existence. Thus, from the results achieved by the karmis and devotees, one can understand the presence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who acts differently for the karmis and gnanis than for the devotees. The author of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita therefore says, Krishna Bhakta Nishkama Athaiva Shanta Mukti Mukti Siddhi Kami Sakala Ashanta. The karmis who desire sense gratification, the gnanis who aspire for the liberation of merging into the existence of the Supreme, and the yogis who seek material success in mystic power are all restless, and ultimately they are baffled. But the devotee who does not expect any personal benefit and whose only ambition is to spread the glories of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is blessed with all the auspicious results of Bhakti Yoga without hard labor. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport. Om Agnana Timirandasya Gnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yenam Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Itinamine Hasvate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Pasyata Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktarunda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. The place, the time, the cause, the purpose, the activity, and the ambition were all the same for both the demigods and the demons. But the demigods achieved one result, and the demons another. Because the demigods are always under the shelter of the dust of the Lord's lotus feet, they could very easily drink the nectar and get its result. The demons, however, not having sought shelter at the lotus feet of the Lord, were unable to achieve the result they desired. So we see here the story of the Sagara Manthan and the subsequent events is being continued over here. So in chapter 9, the interesting twist to this whole nectar generation exercise happens. So we all know the story of how we landed up over here. The demigods and the demons, they have a truce, and they are jointly churning the ocean of milk to produce nectar. And when the nectar finally arises, then the demons are very, very anxious to get it and take it away all for themselves. Right? By this time, they forgot their truce. The clear understanding was that they would share, but they tried to grab it for themselves. At that time, Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, was always, Bhakta Vatsala. He is very, very affectionate towards his devotees. He used the oldest trick in the trade to say, right? He took the form of a very, very beautiful woman. I'll just read a few of these a few translations leading up to this. Sukadeva Goswami said, thereafter, the demons became inimical towards one another. Not only were they inimical towards the demigod, they became inimical towards one another. Throwing and snatching the container of nectar, they gave up their friendly relationship. Meanwhile, they saw a very beautiful young woman coming forward towards them. So this is the nature of demoniac mentality and demoniac friendship. Friendship is only for a specific purpose or goal in mind. Chanakya Pandit, when he's describing, who is a true friend and who is a true wife, he explains that a true friend and a true relative or a true wife is known about how she behaves or he behaves in a time of difficulty. Excuse me. When there is war, when there is sudden loss of wealth and lot of difficulties arise, right? Nowadays, even the relationship of a husband and wife, right, is all for convenience. The Kali Yuga description is there, right? The husband-wife relationship is purely based on physical bodily attraction and gratification, and as soon as the difficulty arises, it doesn't matter which party, one of them will abandon the other. Right? This is the nature. Similarly, a so-called friend, when there is difficulty, when the whole world has forsaken you, the so-called friends will also forsake you. But that's why the true Vaishnava behavior is that one is there for each other under all circumstances. Serving Vaishnavas is a way to become closer to God and become and attract the pleasure of the Supreme Lord. So we see here, at this point, Mohini came. Upon seeing the beautiful woman, the demon said, "Alas, how wonderful is her beauty, how wonderful the luster of her body, and how wonderful the beauty of her youthful age." Speaking in this way, they quickly approached her, full of lusty desires to enjoy her, and began to inquire from her in many ways. So, it is said that, in this material world, this is a Durga, right? This is supposed to be a jail. We always keep asking this question: if there is a jail, where are the bars? Where is the compound? Where are the guards? Where is the barbed wire fence that is holding us back? Right? Where is it? Phone. Yeah, within us, but in a particular way. The three modes of nature, but acting in a particular way. Huh? Desire for the opposite sex. All animals, plants, everything you see, the world, the machine is created in such a way, it's like programmed. Does not matter which species, which this thing, everything. And the living entity gets so caught up that it's ready to take all kinds of trials and tribulations just for little bit of sense gratification. There is some sense gratification, but it comes at a big price. So we see here the demons are also so attracted by the beauty of Mohin. You can imagine Krishna when he wants to, Krishna's name itself is all attractive. And if he wants to attract somebody in the form of a woman, we all know after this pastime, even Lord Shiva, who is considered, the Adi Yogi, the most renounced person, even he himself could not control his lust when he saw Mohini. That's a pastime of the Lord, obviously. Lord Shiva is a great personality. And so, the demons are just praising her to win her favors. Oh, beautiful girl with beautiful eyebrows, Certainly, Providence, by His causeless mercy, has sent you to please the senses and minds of all of us. Is this not a fact? Right? We are now all engaged in enmity among ourselves because of this one subject matter, the container of nectar. Although we've been born in the same family, we are becoming increasingly inimical. Oh, thin-waisted women who are so beautiful in your prestigious position, we therefore request you to favor us by settling our dispute. You know? They willingly ask Mohini to settle the dispute. And the funny thing is, you'll see the Lord in Mohini Rupa, she speaks. She's saying, the Supreme Personality of Godhead in the form of Mohini told the demons, she's directly telling, "O sons of Kashyapa Muni, I am only a prostitute. How is it that you have so much faith in me?" A learned person never puts his faith in a woman. Lord is not even holding back what his intentions are. He directly is telling. But they are so captivated by her beauty, all intelligence goes up. Right? O demons, as monkeys, jackals, and dogs are unsteady in their sexual relationships and want newer and newer friends every day, women who live independently seek new friends daily. Friendship with such a woman is never permanent. This is the opinion of learned scholars. Right? After the demons heard the words of Mohini Murti, who had spoken as if jokingly, they were all very confident. They laughed with gravity and ultimately they delivered the container of nectar into her hands. You see how Lord is tricking her. Directly is telling by the intentions. I'm going to cheat you. Right? You should not believe in me. The Shastras are telling, don't believe in me. But they're very laughing. Here, take. Right? The chief of the demons were not very expert in deciding things. Upon hearing the sweet words of Mohini Murti, they immediately assented. Yes, they answered. What you have said is all right. Thus the demons agreed to accept her decision. Right? So what happened here? Mohini Murti, sorry, I skipped one verse. Before that, Mohini said, see, she said, you should accept whatever I am going to do. Whether honest or dishonest, then only I can take the responsibility of dividing the nectar among you. How much more directly can you tell it? You can't even blame. Directly say, I can do whatever honest, dishonest, you should accept. And he is saying, yes, we will take whatever you want. Then basically what happened, they all were told, go observe some fast, take a bath, go and offer some charity to the cows and brahmanas, and then come over here. So they all came back. So then, Mohini Murti goes amongst them and she says that, you see, these devotees, demigods, she said that they are very restless people. Let me give a little bit to them. I'll keep all the rest to all of you, and then I'll give it to you. So taking the nectar, a container of nectar in her hands, she first approached the demons, satisfied them with sweet words, and thus cheated them of their share of the nectar. Then she administered the nectar to the demigods, who were sitting at a distant place to make them free from invalidity, old age, and death. Right? So then we all know the story of how Rahu, he got a little hint that what is this? All the nectar is going away. He got a little doubt that this must be Vishnu who's trying to cheat us. And he goes and sneaks in the line between the sun and the moon. And then when he gets this thing and he drinks it, little he drinks, by the time the sun and moon, they sound the alarm. Oh, this is not a demigod, it's a demon. And then the Lord cuts his head off with the Sudarshan Chakra. So there Prabhupada explains that the Supreme Lord could not immediately detect that it was Rahu. That is, the Lord did not immediately detect. So this is how the Lord's pastimes are like that. And there Prabhupada is talking about how that even among devotees there will be demons dressed as devotees. Right? So over here, Prabhupada is telling the purport also. In the other purport also Prabhupada explains. It's not easy to detect. Right? There are karmis in the dress of devotees. They want to use the property of the Lord for their selfish sense gratification. But a devotee endeavors to use the Lord's property for God's service. So, in this verse now, we are seeing that the situation, think about it, they all began with the same purpose. They were all equally strong. In fact, in this situation, the demons were stronger than the demigods. That is why the demigods had to go, make a truce with them. And they all worked very hard. We saw how the Lord wanted to favor them. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki jai. And wanted to actually give the, he wanted to tackle the front of the Vasuki along with the demigods. But the demons were like very puffed up. Oh, you're not giving us the head, you're giving us the tail. No, we want the head. This the Lord said, whatever your karma you take. Right? And they were, because they made the decision themselves, they were dying, poison was coming out, fire was coming out, they were so inconvenienced. Still they said, no, this is our decision, and then they kept doing. So much unnecessary endeavor. Right? So Prabhupada explains, this is the nature of the karmis living in existence in this world. If you look at the devotees and the karmis, there is not much difference. Especially when you look at, many of your grihasthas over here. You all have, as the Shastra, as Prabhupada is telling in the purport, it may be seen that karmis and bhaktas may work in the same place, at the same time, with the same energy, and with the same ambition. The ambition of them, both of them, was to get nectar. Right? Not that, they were in doing some pure devotional service, the demigods. But they achieved different results. So, the demons, right? They willingly, wantingly, willingly go take difficult situations. In the Shastras it is explained that the amount of happiness and distress that is due to a living entity is fixed. Right? Who is the famous devotee who says this? Prahlad Maharaj. Right? So Prahlad Maharaj is teaching his friends. He says, whatever sukham, aindrikam, aindrika sukham, the happiness that the Aindriya means, what is Aindriya? Indriya means what? Senses. Aindrika sukham means the happiness that comes from sense gratification. That happiness is 100% destined. That is the nature of human existence itself. So, sometimes you see, it is very difficult for us to grasp or understand this. But if we can just get a little glimpse of this, our entire focus in life will change. See, we are also devotees, just like we said that the demons and the demigods both were looking for nectar, right? So, like that, in one sense, in our conditioned state, we are not fully liberated souls, we are not pure devotees of the Lord. We also have internally, inside our heart, we also have sense gratification. If every day, prasadam is bland, no salt, no spices, like eating, like grits, just like boiled this thing, like that, ganji only you have to eat every day, without salt at all. Can you really eat every day? You will say, oh, can I put little salt? Right? And then you will say, oh, can I get a little sweet? Can I get a little this? Can I get a little that? Because that is our nature. So Lord is telling, don't need to give up all these things. You naturally, when you engage in the service of the Lord, right? Prabhupada many times explains, just like there are servants of the king. Right? So we are just like that. We are all servants of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna Balaram. They are the owners of this place. They are the proprietors of the entire universe actually. And also, in particular, this temple over here. And we are all like servants. Now, if the Lord is staying in a palace, where will the servants stay? They will also live in the palace. Right? If the palace is very nice and beautiful location, very nice gardens, air conditioned, very this thing, then the servants are also living like that. Right? So because it's the prasadam of the Supreme Lord, the endeavor is same. The demons are also trying to get the same thing. They also want air conditioning. They also want a beautiful location. They also want good food. Everything, the same thing they want. The only difference is just the consciousness of the two people is different. Right? Here, they want to always, the demigods are always under the shelter of the dust of the Lord's lotus feet. Right? So, Prabhupada is explaining here the purport. The karmis transmigrate through different bodies in the cycle of birth and death, sometimes going upwards and sometimes downwards, thus suffering the results of their actions in the karma chakra, the cycle of birth and death. The devotees, however, because of fully surrendering at the lotus feet of the Lord, are never baffled in their attempts. Although externally they work almost like the karmis, the devotees go back home, back to Godhead, and achieve success in every effort. The demons or atheists have faith in their own endeavors, but although they work very hard day and night, they cannot get any more than their destiny. The devotees, however, can surpass the reactions of karma and achieve wonderful results even without effort. So this is the secret of life. This is the secret of devotional service, that one has to clearly learn and internalize. In every aspect of life, this is like, it could be as much, I keep saying, even like say taste of the tongue. How much you can eat with this tongue and taste and enjoy is fixed. Now the question is, do you want to enjoy the taste, out of lot of endeavor and creating suffering and headache to so many other living entities. And with all that karma phala you're creating, with that, do you want to enjoy? Or do you want to enjoy very nicely, in a polished way, by offering to the Lord and enjoying prasadam? That's the only difference. How much ever drama you do, whatever efforts you put, you same. Can you imagine if everybody really internalizes that? Your whole outlook of change will really change. Outlook of life will change. We really don't internalize this. We hear, nice lecture is okay, and then afterwards we're back to our normal. Every single aspect of our life, we will not get this much more. And just because we become devotees, we don't get anything less. The Lord never ever holds back anything from His devotees. See, Prabhupada always used to say, what is the difficulty? Right? I have created such a beautiful society for you, situations for you, very favorably, very nicely, in a nice sattvic way. You can enjoy this world. Right? So, one who works for Lord Vishnu is free from this material world. And after giving up his body, he goes back home, back to Godhead. Right? Finally, he's quoting Chaitanya Charitamrita, Krishna Bhakta Nishkama Atheva Shanta Mukti Siddhi Kami Sakala Ashanta. Right? All of them are desiring something. The Bhuktis, the Karmis, the Muktis, those are seeking liberation. Right? Mukti Kami, Siddhi Kami, those are looking for mystic powers. All of these people, they are after something. So that's why they get baffled in their endeavors. And they are ashanta. They are restless. They don't have peace. Okay. Let me see if anybody has any question. Otherwise, I'll give some passing comments. Anybody has any questions or thoughts? Yes. What is the difference? See, when these karmis are working very, very hard, like you gave the example of Elon Musk, right? If he just sits and does nothing for whatever next 1 million years also, he has more money than you'd ever want to do anything. But this world is like that. When you are born in this world, you cannot live, without, you can't live without working. Meaning you have to do some action. Especially this material body. If you don't even, you don't walk, you don't do some exercise, this thing, you can't even enjoy physically also. Right? So this world is designed such that there is always activities there. Right? But this is the difference between sattvic happiness, rajasic happiness and tamasic happiness. At best, Elon Musk's happiness can be considered as a rajasic happiness. Lot of endeavor for some result. Some this thing. The sattvic happiness is such that the endeavor itself will give you happiness. That is the difference. If we are seeking happiness, oh, so we'll get a phala, that one will be happy, then you're still acting in Rajoguna. When you really get into Sattva Guna, Shuddha Sattva, 100% this thing, the endeavor itself is so pleasurable and enjoyable. For example, we also get up at 5 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning. Elon Musk also gets up 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the morning. Right? Now, there is when we develop Sattva Guna, this getting up in the morning is very pleasurable. You enjoy getting up in the morning. The process of chanting, you get so much of pleasure out of it. In a material situation, the endeavor itself doesn't give happiness. The result gives happiness in Rajoguna. That is why if they don't get the result, let's see, anybody will work. Stop giving them the money, all this big money these tech people give. You think anybody will go to office? That's the difference. Huh? What money are they giving us? We are all sitting here and we are doing service, cleaning parts and this. Nobody is giving us it, but we still want to do. That is the difference between Sattvic and Rajasic. Now, you can only be in 100% Sattva Guna. That is called being Krishna conscious. In this material world, otherwise, even Karmi, sometimes there are Sattvic non-devotees also. But they'll always be mixed with Rajoguna and Tamoguna. Pure Sattva Guna, Shuddha Sattva can be manifested only by devotees. You understand? That is the difference. We also will work hard, but we are not lucky for some of these things. So that is why, as one evolves in our consciousness, we should stop looking after results and all that. Our day-to-day activities, our endeavor, our this thing, that only should give us so much happiness and pleasure. Right? At the same time, one should remember that it is very easy to fall into the trap of this. I always keep saying, those who are a little bit sattvic inclined, right? You have a little bit more sattva guna. The biggest enemy of sattvic people is tamoguna, not rajoguna. Very easy, very fine line between sattva guna and tamoguna. Oh, I'm nice and peaceful. Oh, I'm nice and peaceful and sleeping. There's not much difference between the two of them. In the name of, oh, I'm peaceful and this thing, you can fall into the trap of not endeavoring and, falling into tamoguna. And then you will see, how you will see, it never gives you happiness. You'll end up with a headache only. Try sleeping for a long time. Yes. Sattva Guna is in every aspect of life. Food is just one aspect, important aspect. There is Sattva Guna in when you get up. There is Sattva Guna in different times of the day. There is Sattva Guna in how you sleep, when you sleep. There is Sattva Guna in every aspect of it. How you talk, how you think. What gives everything, there is Sattva Guna, Rajoguna, Tamoguna. So one has to learn and understand. See, devotees, and then we can mold our lifestyle in a sattvic way. Okay, I know it's pretty late. The deities are ready for darshan. Yantra Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Jai Srila Prabhupada ki, Bol Premanande.
Adi Purusham